Hi friends, and welcome back to another episode of This Is For The Soul, the podcast, and I'm your host, Brianna Sade. So this episode is it was kind of difficult for me to record because I just have been having so many issues. Mercury retrograde has been retrograding, and technology and me just haven't been getting along lately. Story time. I had this episode planned in my head because when I have an idea or a plan, it sits with me and I can't stop thinking about it until I put it into motion. But the universe just put something else in my head and was like, okay, instead of talking about this, we're going to talk about that. And I was like, all right. So then the plans changed and I decided to talk about something else. So I got in my vibe, got in my flow, started recording. I felt good. And after I was done, I decided not to listen to it because knowing me, if I listened to it right after I was done recording, I would probably cringe, hear mistakes, delete it, and start over. And I did not want to do that. So I was like, well, I'm not going to listen to this right now. I feel like it's good. I'm just going to listen to it back when I go and edit it. Fast forward, editing time comes. I'm sitting down on my computer and you guys want to know what I didn't do or what I didn't realize. I did not realize that I had turned the echo mode on my mic on, so you could hear my voice, but it was very echoey, and it sounded like I was on stage in front of like a million people manifesting, but no, I did not want that to sound like my audio, so I was very upset. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, this is just the beginning and it didn't sound that bad. Like I was still delivering my message, but at the same time, the perfectionist in me was like, no. But I sat with myself and I decided to still move on with posting it, and I tried to continue to edit it and get it together. I was like, I'm just gonna do it, I'm just gonna post it and keep it pushing. But while I was editing it, another thing that I failed to realize is my computer does not fully support the program that I use to edit, and it kind of sucks because that is a very high quality program. It's Adobe Audition, and I love working with it in school, and I've had it on my computer for a while, but my computer tends to freeze and cut off and do all these weird things whenever I use it, and it's not clicking like, girl, it works, but it doesn't work because your computer probably doesn't fully support it. And I learned that the hard way because while I was in the middle of editing my episode, my computer just completely froze for a good 10 minutes. And I was trying not to panic, because I wanted to feel good about what I was going to be putting out. And my motivation just started to diminish, which happens a lot to me. My motivation, like my drive for wanting to do something, it kind of like goes away when things aren't functioning how I want them to. And that's not a good thing, I know, but I'm more aware of it, and I really just wanted to close my computer and throw it and give up. But I had to think about this from a different perspective, and I had to tell myself, like, if this is what you want as a career, or if this is your career, you have millions of people listening to you and relying on this, is that something that you can just throw away and give up on? No. Well, yes, I could do that, but what would it cost me? You know what I'm saying? And it just trickles down to, I've always had this start, stop mentality. And it's something that I want to break away from, but it's easier said than done because I think I did mention this in my last episode. I did listen, but I forgot. The universe has gifted me with abilities. When I was a kid, I used to draw, I used to write, sing. I was even acting, dancing. At one point in time, my mom, they tried to put me in modeling, but I was not going for it. So that didn't go through. But there were a lot of things that I wanted to pursue and that I was actively doing as a child. But as I got older and the harsh realities of life started to hit me, and I realized that, dude, everybody is not going to appreciate or like the things that you put out. You're going to get criticized, you're going to get judged, but you can't let that stop you from moving forward. And that's something that I'm telling myself now, because I don't want to give up on this and I want to keep going and have the motivation to get my shit done, but perfectionism is a killer. And honestly, I have come a very long way. Old Brianna, if I heard myself now, or the things that I've done now that I've like put out, seen, like, for example, that episode, when I was listening to that episode back as I was editing, I was totally cringing because I'm like, wow, I really sound like that. But at the same time, a lot of people do tell me your voice is so nice and so soft, and I'm like, really? And like, yeah, like you have a very good voice for doing voiceovers and stuff like this. And I was like, yeah, I've considered it, but at the same time, listening back to my own voice as myself is kind of like cringe. Doing this type of work, or sitting in front of a microphone, or just talking with yourself, it can be kind of difficult. It can be. And that's why I had difficulties putting other episodes out on my last podcast, because of that perfectionism mindset with the mistakes and the mess ups. But old Brianna would have heard her voice back and heard the mistakes and probably deleted it like right after. Like, I would hear something that I don't like and then it's delete, done. And it sucks because, like I said, perfectionism is such a killer. What you might not think is perfect is actually something that's beautiful and valuable to other people, and you just let it go to waste. And everything happens for a reason. It does. But I do feel like I've grown and I've come a very long way from the old Brianna. So I'm proud of myself, and I'm gonna give myself my flowers, because period. But anyway, perfectionism has hindered me from a lot of opportunities that I could have had. I can't necessarily make perfectionism a bad thing all the time, because it has helped me, and I've formed a lot of habits that are good, like cleaning and organizing. I don't like a disorganized space when I'm trying to do things. If I need to get work done, if my area is chaotic, I can't function. Even my room, I can only go but so long without having to deep clean my room, because it's gotten me to the point where my brain has not allowed me to function. I'm not gonna sit up here and self-diagnose myself with OCD, but I looked it up. Cleaning, all of that has something to do with OCD, and OCD is a mental health illness. Look it up. And it's not a bad thing. It can be beneficial, but if you allow that to consume your life, same with anxiety, if you allow that mentality, it's going to affect you mentally. So I guess if you put it to use in certain ways, it can be helpful. I am very big on mental health, and yes, I'm putting this out there, I am thinking about getting an evaluation, because your girl been going through it. I have. And there are a lot of things that I notice about myself that I feel like it's time for me to understand why. And validation for me is something that I guess I seek, and external validation is okay to seek, but at the same time, if you seek too much of it, that's when it becomes a problem. That also ties into being a perfectionist, because back to my childhood, when I was involved in all of these activities. And as I got older, I began to suppress my personality and suppress my creativity and my talents, because I have now began placing expectations on myself that aren't real. And I then began to search for validation from other people. And even then I was still like, okay. And even then it's just like, all right, I want people to like this, but then at the same time they're gonna hate it. And like, I was making things, my YouTube channel, all that. I had so many videos that I wanted to make, and I was so motivated, and I put out a couple videos and I kept them up there. Start, stop mindset. But there were videos that I made that I just cringed, and I put them out there for a certain amount of time, and then I would go back and pick them apart and delete it. And I deleted it because it's like, oh my God, people are gonna hate that. But if I'm really sitting back and being for real with myself, if I think people are going to hate it because I put it out there, then that means I hate it. And if I hate it, why would I put something out there for people to see? But I wasn't thinking like that at that time. And when I made my YouTube channel, that was around the time of the pandemic. And that was also around the time where, I just graduated high school. This was literally pre-pandemic. I had just graduated high school and I was going into college, but then the pandemic happened and I came back home, and it just didn't end so well. YouTube is something that I do want to get back into, and people have been telling me you should definitely get back into YouTube. And the video that I made was a college video, and to this day I still get comments and questions and people still watch it, and I just feel really good about that, because the fact that people are still looking at my stuff, because I know that there are people out there that are going to love me and support me, and of course there are people out there that are going to hate me. Or not even just hate me, because hate is a very strong word. But there are people out there that are not going to like me, and they might not agree with me or value my opinions. And that's okay. But I can't allow those people and that energy to overshadow the love. And I have to stop being so mean to myself and telling myself that I'm cringy and I'm weird and this is not going to work, because in reality, is it really going to be as bad as I think it's going to be? No, it's not. But if I continue with that mindset, it will probably continue to manifest into something that's forever going to be start and stop. And I don't want that to happen anymore. I want to be consistent with something. But yeah, y'all, I was thinking about scripting these episodes, but I've been going back and forth because I can talk. And sometimes I talk too much, but I have to stop making that seem like a bad thing. So we're going to see. Definitely go and check out the This Is For The Soul Instagram page. I will have it linked below somewhere, wherever you're listening to this. All right, guys. So I think I'm going to end today's episode here. If you listen this whole time, I appreciate you listening to me rant on the internet. Thank you guys for listening once again, and we will chit chat next episode. Bye.